Hi everybody. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to calculate an angle in a right angle triangle using trigonometry. So if we begin with example 1, we need to work out this angle x. And the way we go about this is we use either of these trigonometric ratios, but we need to identify which one to use. So we need to label our sides. The side that is opposite the right angle, we always call the hypotenuse. This is always the longest side. The side which is opposite the known angle, we call the opposite side. And the side which runs along between the known angle and the right angle, we call the adjacent side. And because we've been given the adjacent and the hypotenuse, we don't need the opposite. So we can cross out the opposite from the sine and the tan ratios. So we're going to use cos. So we'll say the cos of the angle, which is x, will be the adjacent length, which is given as 24, divided by the hypotenuse length, which is 40. So now to work out x, we need to do the opposite of cos, and this is called arc cos. And because cos and arc cos are opposite functions, they cancel. So we're left with x will equal the arc cos of 24 over 40. And the way we find this button on our calculators, if you look at the cos button, and just above that is the yellow writing, this is the arc cos. So we press shift and cos. This will give us the arc cos of 24 over 40. We'll close that bracket and we get x is 53.1 degrees to one decimal place. Okay? If we look at the green triangle, again, we need to label the sides. This length is opposite the angle. The hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. And the 12 centimeters is the adjacent. So because we have the opposite and the adjacent, we don't need the hypotenuse. So we'll cross out the hypotenuse from sine, and from cos, we're going to use tan. So the tan of the angle x will be the opposite side 7 over the adjacent 12. Then what do you think we need to do to both sides now to cancel out this tan? So we need to take the arc tan of both sides. And then the tan and the arctan will cancel. So x will be the arctan, and on our calculators, this looks like tan to the negative 1 of 7 over 12. So if we go to our calculators, we'll press shift, and we want the arctan of 7 over 12. And then we'll close that bracket, and we get x will be 30.3 to one decimal place. Okay? Let's try example 2. So if I work through example 2, and then you can try example 3. So we've got the opposite length, which is the 8 centimeters, and the adjacent length, which is the 12 centimeters. So we don't need the hypotenuse. So we'll cross this out, and this one we'll use tan. So the tan of the angle will be the opposite divided by the adjacent. So x will be the arctan of 8 over 12. And we can work this out, and we get 33.7 degrees to one decimal place. So do you want to try example 3? Remember to label the sides from this angle. You can pause the video and come back when you're ready. So the 2.8 would be the opposite side, and the 5.6 will be the hypotenuse. So we don't need the adjacent, which means we'll cross this out, and this one, we're going to use sine. So the sine of the angle we're trying to find, let's call that theta. This will be the opposite divided by the 5.6. So theta will be the arc sine of that fraction. And when you work this out on the calculators, we get theta will be 30 degrees exactly. Okay? Let's try example 4. So in example 4, we need to work out this angle. The problem is, this isn't a right angle triangle. And in this triangle, we haven't been given enough information. So what we need to do, we need to work out the height of this purple triangle, because this is a right angle triangle. And then when we have the height, we can work out the angle of our green triangle. So we'll begin with the 64.2 degrees. Because we want to work out the height, which is the opposite length, and we've got the hypotenuse, we're going to use sine. So the sine of 64.2 will be the opposite of a 5. So h will be 5 times the sine of 64.2. And when we work this out, we get the height to be approximately 4.5 centimeters. And I'll label this on the diagram here. So now we have the height and the base of our green triangle, we can work out this angle. So we'll sketch the green triangle. We want to find x. We know the base is 6.3 and the height is about 4.5. So because we have the opposite and the adjacent, we're going to use tan. So the tan of x will be the opposite. I'll just show on its right angle, divided by the adjacent 6.3. If we take the arctan of both sides, x will be the arctan of 4.5 divided by the 6.3. When we work this out, we get 35.5 degrees to 3 significant figures. Okay? Let's try one more example. Okay, so for our final question, we need to work out this angle x. So do you want to give this question a go yourself? You can pause the video and come back when you're ready. So if we work out this length, then we can have the 22 take away that length. This will give us the base of this triangle. And then we can use trigonometry with this triangle to work out the angle. So we need to begin with the 40 degrees to work out the base. We know the height is 8 and the angle is 40. And we need to work out this length, which I'll call y. So we've got the opposite and the adjacent. So we're going to use tan. So the tan of 40 will be the opposite of a y. So y will be 8 over the tan of 40. When we work this out, we get 9.53. If I label this on a diagram, that means we can now work out the base of this green triangle. This will be the 22 minus the 9.53. So 12.47. We can work out x because we've been given the opposite of 8 and we've just worked out the adjacent. So we're going to use tan. This will be the 8 over the 12.47. So x will be the arctan of that. And when you work this out, we get 32.68 degrees to one decimal place. This is 32.7. Okay? Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that useful. If you did find that helpful, please like and subscribe. And you can download the full lesson and a PDF that accompanies this video from my website, mrmathematics.com. I'll leave a link below.